I've had a crush on my childhood friend for 6 years, but she fell for my roommate. I acted as her wingman, listening to her talk about her feelings for him. All the while, he told me, "Felix, don't fall for me, okay?" At a party, she confessed her feelings in front of everyone. My roommate glanced at me with a smirk. I don't date people who can't keep things clear with other guys. All eyes turned to me like needles. Jasmine quickly explained, "Felix and I are just—" I raised my hand, showing off my couple's ring with a smile. "I already have a girlfriend. Justin went clubbing with others at night. I saw his new post just 3 minutes ago. In the hazy lights of the bar, he stood out even though he was surrounded by beautiful, young people." Jasmine sat on a bench by the lake, looking as downcast as a dog with droopy ears. I asked him out, he didn't agree. Then at night, there's his new post. The man-made lake was chilly at night. Couples strolled by every now and then. Annoyed, I looked at Jasmine. "So, is this why you dragged me out of the library?" Jasmine looked up. She had grown into a pretty girl with doe eyes and delicate features, a mix of charm and fidelity. For 20 years, she had only ever fallen for Justin. Her eyes were a little red as she hugged me pitifully. "Felix, Felix, I know you're the best to me. With our years of friendship, you'll help me, right?" I stiffened. Jasmine, oblivious, snuggled like a puppy. "Please, Felix." I pushed her away, "Quit being so touchy." Jasmine blinked, looking a bit innocent with her doe eyes. "We're friends. Forever friends." Damn friendship. I had bad intentions. Even rabbits don't eat grass at their own door. But I fell for my childhood friend. Jasmine and I have known each other since we were kids. Always together. She stuck to me and I stuck to her. As we grew up, she blossomed into a pretty girl, attracting plenty of admirers at school. Jasmine seemed like she could have a whole team of boyfriends, yet she barely held hands with anyone but me. Always declined with a gentle smile. People thought she was pure, yet sometimes she said things that made you wonder. When I asked why she didn't accept guys' confessions, Jasmine sipped her milk, her hand casually on my shoulder. The smell of her fresh shower gel mixed with the sweet strawberry milk filled the air. She giggled, "They're not as good as you, Felix. If I have to like someone, it'd be you." I remember going red and trying to look calm, telling her to stop it. Inwardly, I felt like a fizzy Coke, ready to explode with happiness. I thought we had time to stay by her side until she realized. Little did I know, she'd fall in love with Justin at first sight. "I get it," I said, "I'll help you." Jasmine immediately smiled. "Felix, you're the best." I pushed her away. "It's getting late. I should head back to my dorm." "Okay." Jasmine let go obediently. "Be careful on your way back." The campus was much quieter at night than during the day. I walked slowly along the path, suddenly pulled into a corner. The cold, woody fragrance overwhelmed me. The mild warmth felt intimate. Late at night, seeing a boyfriend cozy with a roommate by the lake. "Felix, should I just post on the confession wall?" Annie lazily asked. "Go ahead." I pulled her into an embrace. Annie giggled, standing on tiptoe to kiss my cheek. "Nah, too attached to do that. So even if you're being unfaithful, I'll still acknowledge it." I pinched her waist. Dating Annie happened by accident. She was always the school's talk, and we'd barely met a few times. Annie's looks rivaled Jasmine's, but she always felt too casual. Like a fox, full of allure yet seemingly indifferent. Inviting without trying. Playing wingman for Jasmine, I set up a meeting with Justin. Young men and women, drinks and games, the atmosphere soon heated up. After a few drinks, I went to the bathroom to sober up. When I returned, the room was empty and my stomach hurt. I squatted at the bar door, calling Jasmine. 7 or 8 times, no answer. I messaged Justin, who quickly replied with a voice note. "Drank too much, wanted barbecue. Jasmine took me. Sorry, forgot to tell you." His voice was nonchalant, and the background was filled with Jasmine's cheerful voice. "Justin, I'm in line." I almost flung my phone in anger. Looking up, I saw Annie leaning against the door, watching. Tall and elegant, looking down at me, her fox-like eyes curved. "You're really good looking." Annie grinned. "Want a date?" I probably was drunk because otherwise, I'd have hit someone. Maybe it was the alcohol, maybe it was heartbreak, maybe Annie was just pretty. I have someone I like. That's okay. She smiled, each word captivating. I don't mind. All right, I thought. Let's just have some fun. And then we played this game for 3 months in a weirdly stable way. Despite the kisses and hugs, it wasn't real between us. Annie liked my looks, but my heart was elsewhere. If we posted on the confession wall, we'd get 200 curses as the miserable player couple. I admit, I'm awful. The only thing in this world that can turn people into fools, yet gain nothing, is love. But if it were so easy to let go, it wouldn't be love then. Annie walked me back to the dorm. I didn't refuse. She kissed my cheek. Got time tomorrow? I shook my head, helping Jasmine as her wingman. Annie's smile deepened, pinching my cheek. You sure aren't afraid of me getting jealous. She leaned closer, making use of her height to add a touch of pressure, then nipped my cheek playfully. The day after's mine. Deal. Sometimes I think Annie and I are a strange pair, not truly in love, yet in ways like any other couple that's in love. Because love isn't involved, we don't argue. It's weirdly steady. Justin hurried back just before the dorm lights went out at night. Glancing at the clothes hanging by my bed, he smirked. Going on a date? I put my phone down. Jasmine had sent a sad face emoji. With Jasmine? Nah, with my girlfriend. Justin sneered slightly, not buying it. Free tomorrow? I replied. Jasmine mentioned this chic bar she found. Justin dropped his bag on the desk, looked at me with a mix of sarcasm and pity. You're pathetic, Felix. I swallowed my irritation. Playing wingman for my crush, getting mocked yet holding it in. I even invented a girlfriend. I wonder if Jasmine knows? Justin's eyes squinted mischievously. He looked annoyingly charming even when he was being a jerk. Or is this your way to get her attention? Justin, I said with a cold tone. He chuckled, just messing, no need to bite. I'll tag along. I gripped and then let go of my fist. Pulled the bed curtain shut to block out his face. My phone buzzed with messages. I glanced at them. Jasmine. How'd it go? Is he back? Was today tiring? If he's tired, he doesn't have to come tomorrow, right? Did he agree? I replied, he agreed. The phone flooded with messages again. Really? I knew you're the best. Felix. I stared at the cute kitty emoji Jasmine sent. It was Justin's go-to emoji. I typed for a while, then deleted it all without responding. Outside, Justin's faint laughter mixed with his conversation. Who knows which new girl he was talking to? I took a deep breath, tossed the phone aside, and dove under the covers. Not the first time. Anyone could see Justin was just playing around with Jasmine, especially me, the secretly in love. I tried to talk about it once. Even though she might know, saying it seemed like jealousy. So, awkwardly, I ended up only saying, maybe you're not his type. That was the first time I saw Jasmine with such a serious look. The sunset gilded her profile, warm, yet oddly lonesome. I know, she said. I know Justin doesn't like me, and I know he's probably just teasing. But I like him, and I hope he could like me too. So I want to try harder until he likes me. Or he directly rejects me. Pure, intense love. I knew I should have said something then, but it felt like those words stabbed my heart, leaving it shattered. My throat went dry, voiceless. So in the end, I could only mutter, good luck. Perhaps from that moment, I knew there'd never be anything between Jasmine and me. There was a fleeting moment of hatred in my heart. Hating her straightforwardness, hating her for loving so honestly, hating her for not giving me a chance, hating my own cowardice, hating myself for loving, yet never speaking out. While she dared to say it out loud, I only dared to tread on the boundary of friendship. We went to the bar, Justin and I. Since I wasn't the main character, I threw on a plain white tee and left. Jasmine had been waiting for a while. When we arrived, 2 guys were chatting her up. She smiled politely, waved them off, but her eyes lit up when Justin appeared. In an instant, she was by his side. Justin, you're here. Her gaze swept up and down, complimenting generously, you look sharp in that suit. Justin returned the smile. I felt excluded from their flirty bubble. Looking away, watching the two guys' retreating figures. Out of nowhere, Annie popped into my mind. We'd occasionally date, usually at a gaming cafe playing It Takes Two all day. When we were about to leave, I saw her outside the bathroom, giving her number to someone. She leaned against the wall, glanced at him, chuckling. All right. I waited a bit. Once they finished up, and the guy left blushing, she came over. Let's go. Annie wrapped her arm around my waist, her fingers lingering, teasingly. How much did you hear? From when she asked for your number? I replied, am I about to be your ex? Annie laughed, not quite yet. By the elevator, I pressed the button. While waiting, Annie stood behind me, her breath tickling my neck, sending a shiver down my spine. I tried to move away, but she pulled me closer. I thought you'd be mad. Watching the numbers change, I said evenly, you know I won't. Felix. Her distorted reflection on the door was a series of blurred colors. The elevator doors opened, cutting off her words. I didn't ask what she was going to say. All I remembered were those heavy, dark colors in that blur. Jasmine and Justin were deep in conversation. Sitting at the bar, a bit away from them, I mindlessly scrolled through my phone. Half an hour later, I excused myself to the restroom, leaving them alone. Washing my face, I decided to stay a while longer, like I had done so many times before. The hallway lights flickered, casting shadows. I lowered my gaze, remembering that time they ditched me. If it happened again, I'd get it. My expectations kept lowering, to the point where I held no hope for Jasmine. That's when the unexpected happened. A drunk woman staggered into me, her breath a mix of smoke and booze. Alone? Her sticky gaze was disgusting. Can I buy you a drink? I stepped back nonchalantly. Sorry, my friends are waiting. She moved closer instead, grinning, just a quick meet. Suddenly a greasy, overweight man appeared, grabbing my collar, his teeth yellow, accusing, you're the lover she sees outside? Shamelessly touching each other here. The woman who'd been pretty drunk a second ago suddenly sobered up a bit. She looked at the man next to her, panic all over her face, but didn't bother explaining. A cold sweat formed at the nape of my neck. I think I've been set up. But in that moment, I wasn't brave enough to start a fight with someone way bigger than me. Fear trickled down my spine as I tried to keep calm. Felix? When Jasmine's voice came from around the hallway corner, my fear and dependence peaked. I practically threw myself behind her. Just like when I was a kid, chased 3 blocks by a stray dog. She appeared out of nowhere and stopped the dog. You should worry about your wife. She was just being handsy with my friend. We haven't even called the cops to charge you with harassment. The girl's voice turned ice cold in an instant, sharp like a sword. The man spat, dragged the woman away while cursing. Everything's fine, Jasmine said, her hand hovering over my back, hesitating before she pat me gently. I'm here. Her comfort was reassuring as always. My legs felt a bit weak, but my mind told me I needed to get out of there fast. I used the wall for support, trying to stand straight. What is going on here? Justin asked, standing about 3 yards away with his arms crossed, looking amused. Jasmine pushed me away like she'd been shocked. My body hit the wall, and I couldn't help but let out a soft grunt. Justin gave me a once-over, chuckled coldly, and then turned to leave. Jasmine took a couple of steps after him, then came back. Felix, head back to school. I need to explain things to Justin. I'll call the cops first. Can you stay with me until they arrive? I asked, trying to stay calm despite the whirlwind inside. Felix. Her voice was colder than ever. Irritated. Justin needs me more. And what about me? Jasmine, am I just supposed to be safe on my own? My rational side snapped in an instant. I wanted to grab her by the collar and ask her why, even if she liked Justin. What about us, our years of friendship? Isn't that worth something? But looking into her eyes, all my questions got swallowed down. 20 years of memories felt like shards of glass rushing through my veins. Every breath was a struggle. I shut my eyes, blinked back tears. Go ahead. Jasmine gave me one last look, her voice barely audible. I'm sorry, Felix. I almost laughed. What are you apologizing for? Jasmine. Is it for our friendship? For leaving me behind? Or is it for pretending not to know your heart? All of a sudden, the noise around me faded. I forced down my emotions and calmly dialed the police. Went to the station to make a statement. Sitting on the cold bench in the police station, I stood up to leave. My phone buzzed with a message. It wasn't Jasmine. Felix. My roommate saw Jasmine with Justin at the school gate. Where are you? At the police station. The phone call came through immediately. Felix? Annie's voice was a bit raspy. Send me your location. I sent her my location. 15 minutes later, Annie rushed in. Her hair blowing in the wind, a thin layer of sweat on her forehead. She got closer, turning me around for a once-over, then smiled. Not hurt. I looked up at her. Annie lowered her eyes to meet mine. Her dark hair almost looked transparent under the streetlights. In her unsmiling silence, there was an unexplainable sense of sympathy. Annie, I said, I don't want to be a doormat anymore. She burst out in a grin, her eyebrows arching. She pinched my cheek gently. Good. I started to distance myself from Jasmine. Well, more like not caring than distancing. I guess you could say, I'd still reply to texts, greet her when we met, but compared to 20 years of friendship, we started acting like so-so friends. But I guess she wouldn't care either. Justin still came back late, like always. Whether he was with Jasmine or someone else, I stopped caring. He tossed his bag on the table, his tone laid back. Jasmine seems like she wants to confess. Really? I said, my voice indifferent, eyes never leaving my book. My phone buzzed with a message from Annie. I took a look and replied, 8 already. Felix. Justin gave me a once-over. Is it you genuinely don't care? Or are you just better at pretending than before? I glanced at him, my tone steady. Are you hoping to see me upset? Justin smirked, candidly malicious. Yep. I turned my eyes back to my book. Well, you're gonna be disappointed. When the dinner plan came through, I was in the middle of playing It Takes Two with Annie. She leaned against me, almost boneless, her fingers moving swiftly on the controller while Cody jumped around on the screen. I glanced at my phone. Got a dinner thing tonight. Got it. Annie nodded. I'll pick you up after. The boss's health was low on the screen. I landed the final blow. Oh, by the way, Annie set the controller down. I saw Jasmine bought flowers today. Her eyes shimmered, probing, or maybe it was just a casual remark. I said, probably gonna confess. When I arrived at the dinner, I was a bit late. The room was filled with familiar faces. Jasmine and Justin sat together. As I walked in, Jasmine spotted me. Her eyes lit up. Felix. I caught the flash of dark emotion passing through Justin's eyes, just nodded, took a seat, and chatted with the friends nearby. I thought you weren't coming. I'm not letting anyone mess up my plans. I smiled. I have other friends to meet too. Justin chuckled, not denying, hope you're not all talk. The lights dimmed for a second. The room's music turned to a soft love song. The dim light cast on Justin's face, announcing the main character of the night. I nudged aside and saw Jasmine, holding a bouquet of Carmen roses. Her face flushed like white jade with a hint of pink. Focused. Justin. I've liked you for a long time. Her voice was soft yet firm. Will you give me a chance? Justin's gaze grazed her, then landed on me. Words almost gentle yet cruel. I don't date people who are tangled with other guys. The room went silent, the eyes around us stabbing into me like needles. People started whispering. Oh, that's what it is? No wonder with those two. So Felix and Jasmine? Jasmine's face blanched, desperately spilling her truth to Justin. Felix and I are just. Meeting Justin's amused gaze, I laughed. I lifted my hand and saw the couple's rings glisten under the lights. No way, I said. I've had a girlfriend for a while now. The room went silent for a moment. Jasmine froze, her eyes on my ring. Justin looked at me with an odd expression. Girlfriend? You mean the one from your last date? He raised an eyebrow, his smile a little mocking. Jasmine snapped back to reality, her gaze darting back to me. She seemed to be assessing the situation. Felix, she said, you don't have to do this because of me. I chuckled. It's not about you. Justin let out a small laugh. Why don't you invite your girlfriend over? Then we could all meet her. Sure, I said, She's actually on her way. Jasmine's eyes twinkled for a second. Felix. I didn't look at her. 15 minutes later, the door swung open. Annie leaned casually against the doorframe, her eyes landing right on me. Felix. Her voice was lazy. I'm here. Annie? The room buzzed with whispers. Justin went pale. You're Felix's girlfriend? Annie gave her a sideways glance, nonchalantly. No doubt about it. Jasmine suddenly spoke up, fixating on Annie's face, but her gaze kept flickering back to me. Since when? For months, Annie replied, smiling as she took my hand. Funny enough, it's been since Felix introduced you guys. She pulled me in, wrapping an arm around my waist. Felix is nice. Help set you guys up. But someone's got to be immature and turn the tables. Huh? Justin's face shifted between pale and flushed. Sorry. Though I've never seen Felix post about it online. Thought you guys would be more public, more open. Having an itch to snoop, Justin? Annie teased, her hand lingering on my waist. Do we need to broadcast every moment for you? Or is it just you that loves putting your life on public display? Jasmine dropped the cardamom rose she was holding. Dark red petals shattered across the floor. She grabbed my hand, trying to pull me away. All those things you said, they're lies, right? Her grip hurt. I tried to back away. But in the blink of an eye, Annie, usually so laid back, became fiercely protective. She seized Jasmine's wrist, her white-knuckled grip demanding. Let go. Jasmine winced in pain and released me. Annie's fingers gently massaged my wrist. Jasmine. Our matching couple rings captured the room's light, reflecting tiny sparks like two stars in dialogue. Look closely. Felix is mine. Walking back to school with Annie, our hands stayed intertwined even in front of the dorm entrance. Under the streetlight, I looked at her. Her face glowed with a subtle blush from the recent excitement, resembling jade tinted with rouge. I touched her cheek, almost mesmerized. She held my hand against her face. Caught you. Annie's eyes gleamed like scattered stars. You put up a great fight. She hesitated, then laughed. I thought you were going to confess to me. The warmth below my palm was something unreal, burning from the touch straight to my heart. It felt like even my heartbeat couldn't handle the heat and thumped a bit faster. Quiet moonlight bathed us. Maybe it was a perfect time for confessing. But I hesitated. My hand slipped from her cheek to rest over my heart. I don't know. I'm sure I like you, just like my heart raced near Jasmine before. But I can't tell if it's dependence on you or just adrenaline tonight. A confession right now feels like I just love the feeling of being protected, not necessarily you as a person. And that's unfair. But rest assured, whether or not I'm infatuated, I definitely like you and your personality. Even if we're not lovers, we're good friends. I met her gaze earnestly. I know how we started off as a game, but now, I really want to give this relationship a real shot. My heart raced despite my mind remaining surprisingly calm. Yet, a strange fear crept in, as if dreading her response. It made me feel unlike myself. I looked at Annie, almost muttering, "Is that okay?" Annie's eyes softened on mine, like a pool rippled by a breeze. She dipped her head and pressed a gentle kiss on my forehead, as light as a spring breeze. Her whispered words were soft and lingering. Of course. In the following days, Jasmine kept messaging me, much like how she pursued Justin back then. Felix, can we talk? Felix, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a girlfriend. I just want to make sure you're truly happy. I didn't reply, my fingers hovering over the block button. I hesitated, mindful that I might bump into her dad during the holidays. In the end, I didn't block her. Annie rested her chin on my shoulder, cuddling close. Can I exercise my girlfriend rights? What rights? I asked, puzzled. Annie laughed, wrapping my waist. The right to delete any girl bothering my boyfriend. I suspected Annie might have some skin hunger. Ever since we agreed to take our relationship seriously, she's been more present in my life. She's all about the hugs and kisses, like she wants to carry me everywhere, turning me into her personal hug pillow. According to her, all couples in love act like this. And it made sense. If Annie felt uneasy about Jasmine, I couldn't ignore it. especially considering I once liked Jasmine. Realizing this, it clicked for me. I hit the block button. Annie leaned over, gave me a playful kiss, and handed me her phone. Time to inspect mine. Spot any suspicious contacts? I hesitated. No need. I trust you. But Annie unlocked her phone. Passwords, your birthday. Check away. Contacts, chat history, browser history, shopping history. Anything. Her warm breath tickled my ear. With a hint of subtle suggestion, it seemed as if this moment had been anticipated for a long time. I casually scrolled through her chat history. Everything was pretty normal. There were some guys messaging her, hinting at wanting to meet. Annie's standard reply, "I'm with my boyfriend. No time, sorry." I glanced up at her. If she's this upfront, why would I even need to check? Annie's eyes lit up instantly, with a look almost as if asking for praise, like a puppy. My heart softened a bit, and I reached out to pat her head. "You're the best girlfriend in the world." A blush quickly spread across her ears. She buried her face in my neck and murmured after a while, "You too. Felix is the best boyfriend in the world." After a moment, she added, "Mine." When I was heading back to the dorm, Annie walked me downstairs. We lingered a bit before parting. Just as I was about to go upstairs, someone called me. Jasmine appeared out of nowhere. Her lashes, damp from the evening's humidity, cast a wandering gaze on my face, part fear, part shyness. "Felix, you blocked me." It was a statement. Jasmine lowered her head, like a child caught in the wrong. I glanced at her, speaking plainly, because my girlfriend wouldn't be happy. "Annie, she." Jasmine looked up abruptly, her voice tinged with irritation but quickly retreating into a soft, kitten-like tone when our eyes met. "But we're friends, not just friends, we're childhood pals, childhood sweethearts. We've only been together for 4 months. But us?" She looked at me directly, full of some stubborn determination. "We've known each other for nearly 20 years. I didn't respond right away, just looked off into the distance. The sky was getting darker. A fine drizzle started to fall. The wind sent a chill across my face. "I've been thinking," I said. "Remember the day you took Justin to barbecue and left me alone at the bar? Not even a goodbye? We've known each other long enough that our lives intertwine. You know me as well as I know you. That wasn't something you'd do. I've thought about it a long time and finally understood. You knew I liked you. You did it on purpose." Jasmine's face turned pale, as if drained of all energy. She moved her lips, seemingly trying to defend herself. But in the end, she couldn't say a word. "I get it. I can understand you not liking me, wanting to make me give up." My tone remained steady. "I get it, but it doesn't mean I forgive you. So that's that, Jasmine. That's the final say, underlining 20 years of shared history." I acted like I didn't notice Jasmine's teary eyes or quivering lips. At 15, I watched fireworks with Jasmine. The dazzling display reflected in her eyes, but I only stared at her sparkling gaze. The sound of my heartbeat was deafening, almost louder than the exploding fireworks. Jasmine turned to me, with a tiny reflection of me in her eyes. She said, "Felix, let's always be okay." Even just as friends, I was happy. We probably never thought this would be our final outcome. Back at the dorm, Justin was already there. Unusually silent, he just gave me a pale glance. I had no interest in deciphering the meaning behind that look, dropping my things and turning to wash up. When I got back, I found him staring at me. "Happy now?" I wiped the corners of my lips. "Happy with what? Come on, don't play dumb." Justin's gaze met mine without flinching, an edge of sarcasm lingering at the corners. "Seeing Annie embarrass me and Jasmine begging you, it makes you feel good?" The short silence was suffocating. I focused on Justin's bitten, reddened lips, watching the fury in his eyes almost become tangible. "No, not happy." I met his gaze steadily. "You're neither my imaginary rival nor my opponent. Whether you end up well or not doesn't matter to me. Besides, you chose this path yourself." "Felix." Justin stood abruptly, nails digging into his palms. "You think Annie really likes you? A girl like her, she just wants what's new." "Justin," I interrupted calmly, "you can't even handle your own feelings. Who are you to judge others?" The air stilled, just for a moment. Justin let out a cold laugh, slammed the door, his footsteps echoing as they faded down the hall. It was his anger, letting loose. I glanced away. Annie's text popped up at that moment. "Want to check out the new cat cafe tomorrow?" I curved my lips into a smile and replied with a sure. Justin toned it down quite a bit. Occasionally, in the room, he'd look at me with those complicated eyes. I didn't understand, nor did I really care to. Jasmine didn't end up with Justin. I heard while chatting with some friends gossiping, one expressed, I heard Justin eventually said yes, but then Jasmine backed out. I really can't figure her out, how she could be so into someone. I just chuckled. People can be pretty strange. I didn't deliberately avoid Jasmine. Sometimes we'd cross paths on campus. We'd just nod a bit in acknowledgement before passing by. Out of the corner of my eye, I'd see her linger as if waiting or hoping, but I never looked back. The next time I saw Jasmine was at our high school reunion. I got there early, catching up with some familiar faces. Annie didn't join but said she'd pick me up afterward. As soon as Jasmine arrived, she headed straight to me, and folks cleared a spot for her instinctively. Just like in the cafeteria back then, she was always beside me. Her white shirt remained spotless, carrying the scent of orange blossom. So clean, just like before. I subtly shifted aside, continuing my chat with classmates. The slight movement, however, was caught by Jasmine, who, as if unfazed, picked up some shrimp from the table. Her fingers, oil-slicked and deft, seemed unconcerned. She placed the peeled shrimp in my bowl, her actions natural and practiced. Yet as she set them down, her fingertips shivered, and her ears flushed red. An old classmate nearby teased, "You two still close as ever." Jasmine chuckled, not denying it while pouring me a glass of juice. "Don't say nonsense." I glanced back with a smile. The ring on my hand glittered for a moment. I said, "I have a girlfriend." The room went quiet for a bit. The young guy sitting nearby froze for a second. His eyes got a little red, and his fingertips tightened on his glass. Almost like he was punishing himself. His voice came out hoarse and hard to understand. "Felix has a girlfriend." The tone was unclear. Jasmine lowered her gaze, staring at the water droplets on the glass like they were the most fascinating thing ever. The scent of orange blossoms mingled with the alcohol, slicing through her throat like a dull blade. She pulled on a facade of gentle warmth. Felix's girlfriend must be amazing. The atmosphere in the room seemed to return to normal. "That's such a shame." The girl with the ponytail slapped the table. "Back in high school, we bet you guys would end up together after graduation." Her words cut through the surface smoothness like a knife, exposing the tangled history beneath. Jasmine almost lost her composure. I laughed and steered the topic away. "We were just good friends back then. By the way, about that camera you wanted to buy." I casually slid the bowl of shrimp back toward Jasmine. She got up suddenly, like she'd been pricked. "I'm gonna hit the bathroom." The hallway corner was a little dim. Jasmine's face was half hidden in the shadows, stripped of her usual softness for the first time. A classmate coming out of the bathroom patted her on the shoulder, unaware. "Why you not going in?" Jasmine was dazed for a second. "Going now." The classmate chuckled. "Can't believe Felix actually got a girlfriend. Thought you guys would finally make it official. Such a bummer." The regret in her voice nearly scorched Jasmine's heart to ashes. She almost echoed the sentiment, but swallowed her words the next moment. Like swallowing a mouthful of glass shards, the past she shattered with her own hands. "So how about you? Making any progress?" The harsh lighting cast Jasmine's face into a bloodless pallor. She lifted her eyes to the fluorescent light until dark spots swam in her vision and tears surfaced. Still waiting. Words left unspoken. Waiting for someone who's never turning back. When Jasmine came back, she didn't sit next to me. It seemed she understood the space between us now. Still, she'd occasionally shoot me a look I sharpened into something I ignored. It rained when we were leaving. I stood under the awning, waiting to hear from Annie. I said my goodbyes to classmates, and suddenly the scent of orange blossoms mixed with alcohol wrapped around me from behind. "Felix." The girl's slurred voice, toasted by strong liquor, was indistinguishable. She stumbled and grabbed my wrist. Rain sliced the world into blurred colors. Jasmine's hot breath grazed my ear. When Annie took you away that day, I called you a bunch of times. You didn't answer. I texted, no reply. I waited downstairs at your dorm all night. Didn't know if you saw the messages and ignored them or really hadn't. All I saw were the lights in your dorm going off one by one. But still I didn't leave. Didn't want to see Annie's face. I waited until morning. Saw you come out, wanted to talk, but hesitated. Didn't know what to say. In those few moments, Annie showed up. I watched her walk over to you, saw your fingers intertwine, saw you leave together. I suddenly knew what it felt like to be left behind. Felix, I'm sorry. Sorry. Jasmine. I pushed her back suddenly, unpeeled her fingers from my wrist one by one, like picking off an old scab. I don't need your late apologies or your feigned tenderness. I said, leave it as it is. You understand? I met her eyes, calm and steady. Jasmine broke inch by inch under my gaze, laughed mournfully and pressed her nails into her palm. Don't understand, I don't understand. Like a child throwing a tantrum. Felix, you know what? She lifted her eyes to mine, her gaze fractured and tears streaked. When friends talked about your dates, I'd casually say, that's nice, but secretly wished for anything to interrupt. When asked what Annie's like, I'd smile and praise her kindness, but inside, I cursed her with every ugly word. Annie would say you guys were stable and I'd smile, bless you too, but felt like a rat in a sewer. Tears fell like shooting stars. Hope she'd cheat but dreaded you being hurt for real. I was wrong. Shouldn't have thought being friends lasts longer than lovers and dodged your feelings. Should have realized my feelings for you were beyond control before I hurt you. Felix. She raised her hand, aiming to touch me, only to stop inches away, tracing the shape of my face through the air. Can we stay friends? Okay? At least, her trembling voice was drowned by the rain. Let me stay by your side. The no barely left my lips. Annie's lazy voice, tinged with cold, cut through. Need help calling the cops? She stood with an umbrella at the steps, smirked against the rain curtain. Jasmine, clinging to someone else's boyfriend in the pouring rain. What's this? Justin finally got tired of you being too clingy and dumped you? Jasmine's posture faltered, eyes reddening deeply. She balled up her fists, spoke silently. Annie, what happens between Felix and me is none of your business. None? Annie interrupted, laughing dryly, her expression still smiling, eyes icy cold. You left him alone at the bar? Who was it then? Using Justin like a tool? Who was it then? Her voice was like snow on ice fields, laced with biting winds. Now trying to act all deep and passionate? Do you deserve it? Somewhat angry. Seemed so. I held my tongue and moved under Annie's umbrella. Felix? Jasmine reached out, but her hand stopped in mid-air. I look up and see the dark colors swirling in Annie's eyes. But when she meets my gaze, they instantly fade away like the tide pulling back. Her voice softens immediately too. Let's go. Felix. I nod and grab her other hand that isn't holding the umbrella. Her hand grips mine back, filled with an undeniable sense of ownership and safety. I don't look back. I won't ever look back. We walk hand in hand back to the school in silence. Even though our hands are tightly entwined, neither of us says a word. I try to find the right time to speak, but nothing comes to mind. When we reach the school, the rain has lessened a bit. As we pass by an empty classroom building, I'm suddenly pulled into a secluded corner. An arm wraps around my waist, pulling me into a familiar, comforting scent. I instinctively look up, but I'm met with a kiss. Annie's kiss is fierce and urgent, like a river bursting its banks during a stormy season. The rushing torrent surrounds me, almost consuming me. As our lips and teeth tangle, she bites my lower lip, only to gently lick the bleeding spot. With a firm hold on the back of my head, I can't even think of escaping. All I can do is gasp for air. Felix, when we part, our foreheads touch, and our breathing is noticeably clear in the night air. I take a deep breath. Annie, you? What about me? Our foreheads still touching, She drops her eyes, hiding all her emotions. But there's an almost undetectable tremor in her voice that gives everything away. Like a caged beast, after tearing down her playful facade, there's raw, bleeding fear inside. My heart aches. I sigh softly, my voice gentler now as I raise my hand to touch her face. What are you afraid of? Annie suddenly relaxes, burying her face deeply into my neck. Her voice is muffled. Afraid you'll go soft. Afraid you'll look back. Afraid you'll realize I'm nothing compared to Jasmine and those 20 years of memories. There's a hint of self-mockery in her laughter. I feel like I'm stealing the right to even be jealous. Felix. She holds my wrist, pressing it to her chest. Her heart beats powerfully, almost in sync with mine. She says, this is about to explode. I press my fingertips a bit harder over her heart. Despite the dampness of her clothes from the rain, her heart feels as warm as cotton baked in the sun. Incredibly soft. I cup her face. Annie, I say deliberately, genuinely. I like you. Unquestionably. Annie's pupils contract, as if surprised by unexpected fireworks. Her face, momentarily blank, has a touch of adorable confusion. I like you too. She urgently responds, like a believer offering her heart to a deity. Then she lands a softer than ever, almost reverent kiss on my lips. She says, always, and always will. The future is long, but we're serious about this. Annie's diary, November 9th. I saw him playing wingman for Jasmine in the library again today. That idiot can't even tell Justin's stringing her along, but is getting more at ease ordering Felix around. I watched from behind a bookshelf as he stood there holding coffee behind them. Fool, couldn't you see she's doing it on purpose? At least don't let me see you wiping away tears in secret. Jasmine, what makes you think you're worthy? March 5th, found a rain-soaked kitten outside the bar. He was huddled there, dialing his phone, shivering like an abandoned stray. Honestly, I stood at the door watching him for a while. The moment he looked up, my mind went blank. Would you like to date? I asked, immediately wanting to smack myself. His eyelashes glistened. I like someone else. My heart clenched, but I forced a smile. I don't mind. He said, okay. He actually agreed. Back at the dorm, I couldn't stop smiling in front of the mirror for half an hour. Thought I'd confessed in a grand way, but ended up sounding like a rogue. Still, I was too happy to sleep, so I stared at photos of him on my phone for ages. March 20th, played It Takes Two with him. Online it said that game could make even best buddies kiss. He maneuvered me up and down, his smile turning his eyes into crescent moons. I deliberately messed up, and he'd pinch my waist, calling me a noob. The moment I touched his hand, I felt like I was about to have a heart attack. Jasmine is nothing. We're perfect for each other. April 18th, intentionally agreed to exchange contacts with someone who hit on me. Saw him from the corner of my eye, standing at the hallway corner. Not even his eyelashes flinched. Thought he'd rush over to question me. Instead, he just said coldly, let's go. Went back to the dorm, blocked the sophomore, and tossed my phone into a pillow. Are you made of stone? Or is Jasmine the only one who can stir your emotions? So what if you're childhood friends? I'll replace you one day. June 10th. Picked him up at the police station. Standing alone under the streetlight, shadow casting long. Jasmine ditched him again. I'd love to strangle that jerk. He said he won't be a sycophant anymore, and I almost proposed on the spot. July 8th. At a gathering. Flashing the ring, Justin's face was as green as wilted lettuce. Jasmine's gaze on her was that of a stray dog, and I nearly laughed out loud from the thrill. I deliberately held him tighter, whispering in his ear, Felix, you're mine. His ears turned red. He's so cute. My Felix. I want to repeat it in his ear over and over. July 16th, we finished It Takes Two. He slumped in my arms, throwing the controller. Why can't Cody just smash the vacuum with a hammer? I held his waist and reread the transcript, because they want us to hug longer. He blushed but didn't deny it. Online wasn't lying. The game did build our bond. Next time, I'll bring him to play Overcooked, show him how stable my emotions are. July 25th, during a reunion when it rained, he stood under the eaves waiting for me, looking like a painting. Jasmine sidled up, pretending to be affectionate. I stood in the rain, clutching an umbrella, nails digging into my palms. When he walked towards me, thousands of lights lit up behind him, infuriating her. When I kissed him, I bit his lip, tasting blood. He said he likes me, and my mind went blank, only able to repeat always. Jasmine, you're out. I want 20, 40 years, a lifetime with him. Mine. Forever. July 28th, I peeked at his phone album. 17-year-old Felix putting a birthday hat on Jasmine, his eyes shining like galaxies. Yet he still looked so good. I cropped Jasmine out of every photo in his gallery over 1,000 times. He caught me and watched me snip them with a smile. Wanted to kiss him. So I did. And I want to again. August 2nd. He mumbled incoherently with a fever, clutching my sleeve, calling for Annie. My hand shook so much while giving medicine, nearly spilling it. I wish I could take his sickness instead. When he's feverish, he's like a child. He pouted again. Blurred. He rubbed my palm. Annie, you're noisy. No matter how noisy, I'll be noisy for a lifetime. October 2nd, went traveling with Felix. Icelandic hotel, why see the aurora? Because legend says those who see it together bind their souls. Jasmine has watched 20 years of fireworks with you, but I want every dawn to have my name inscribed. See, even the universe is setting off fireworks for us. June 4th, finished the thesis defense. Roommate asked if she should help destroy the extra thesis papers. I shook my head. He drew a sparrow with a ring on it in the acknowledgement section of my graduation thesis. Tonight I'll frame this page by my bedside, and when I'm 80, I'll point and laugh, look, my husband reserved me at 22. Any life winner.